All right, let's get to our first discussion now. President Muhammadu Buhari is extending greetings to all Nigerian citizens and Muslim community at home and abroad on the occasion of this year's Eid El Maulud.
President Buhari, in a statement by his senior special assistant on media and publicity, wished everyone peace, happiness and good health. He says the country needs the support and prayers of all citizens, especially for a peaceful electioneering season. Also, Speaker of the House of Representatives Yakubu Dogara has called on Muslims to imbibe the teachings of Prophet Muhammad on piety, unity, charity, peaceful coexistence and good neighborliness to help build a nation of our dream.
He says the birth of the Holy Prophet is an opportunity for the adherents to renew faith, rejuvenate their spirit and engender love in the society.
We have with us an Islamic cleric, Professor Ishaq Akintola. Good morning and happy Eid El Maulud to you.
Thank you. Happy Eid El Maulud.
Yes, indeed. A lot of people, you know, asking the question, exactly what is Eid El Maulud all about?
Eid El Maulud, A'udhu Billahi Minash Shaitanir Rajeem, Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. I seek refuge from the accursed devil and I begin in Allah's mighty name. Eid El Maulud is about the birthday of the Holy Prophet Muhammad. It's marked annually because he's such a great man. He has impacted, you know, lives all over the globe, and we believe he should be remembered because of his the nobility of his character, the frugal life he lived, the love he spread among mankind, his tendency to his propensity towards forgiveness. He's always ready to forgive, always ready to give. He doesn't. He demands nothing from you, from mankind. He gave without asking for anything in return. So we celebrate him today with more than 1.6 billion Muslims all over the world.
Wow. All right. It's really interesting. It's really a time to mark because for a great prophet like the Holy Prophet Muhammad, for all he stood for is really an example. One thing there is, one would wonder that his birth would have been celebrated more than the other Salah, but it doesn't seem to be so. This is the lesser Salah comparative to the other one.
Actually, we don't call it Salah.
Oh, okay.
If it's Salah, then we will be going for some kind of congregational prayer.
Okay.
But there's no prayer on, you know, and there is no genuflections, no gatherings, but there could be other assemblies, like seminars, like symposia, like, you know, public lectures, debates.
But more of a mild commemoration.
Commemoration. It's not so, no, I wouldn't say mild like that, because people still assemble. Muslims mark it in big ways. Even in outside Nigeria, they do it.
With celebration, that's the point. I mean, a lot of people are like, where are the rams?
I'm trying to compare the two ways of celebration.
No slaughtering of chicken and, you know, things like that.
We could do that in our homes privately. People do. We prepare special dishes and invite friends and relations. But the issue of slaughtering rams doesn't arise because there is no precedent. In the case of Salah, there was a precedent, and that was Ibrahim alayhi salatu wasalam. He slaughtered the ram instead of his own son, and we mark that during Salah. So that didn't happen with the Holy Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So we can be slaughtering a ram. If you can slaughter a ram privately on your own,
if you like,
but if you like,
But, it does not require that you should. It's not ritualistic. All right, there's something that I've noticed, that Eid El Maulud actually changes from year to year. Is there any reason why? I mean, if you were to compare with the Christmas celebration, I mean, you know that December 25, every year Christmas is celebrated. But that doesn't seem to be the case.
It's not Eid El Maulud alone.
That changes
in terms of dates.
Why is that?
Because the Islamic calendar is followed by the Muslims. Whereas for Christmas, it's the Gregorian calendar, which of course is fixed. It's fixed. The dates don't change. But in the Islamic calendar, it depends on the performance, the appearance and so on, of the crescent of the moon.
Okay.
So,
Okay.
so we follow the Hijra calendar.
Okay.
That's right.
All right, let's talk about the teachings of the Holy Prophet, which has become the benchmark to the lifestyle of a good Muslim. How would you assess, if we watch the news these days and you listen to so many things happening around, how would you assess the commitment of followers to the teachings of the Holy Prophet?
There's a lot of difference these days between the teachings of the teachings of our leaders and the practices of both the leaders and the followership. You see, Holy Prophet Muhammad ﷺ summed it up when he said in his hadith that before the end of the world, لا تقوم الساعة حتى يقوم الرجل بقبر الرجل ويقول يا ليتني كنت مكانه. He said the world will not come to an end until such a time that a man will be passing by the grave of another who is buried there, and he will shake his head and say, "Oh, I wished I were the one here, buried here."
In other words,
in other words, the world would have deteriorated so badly. We're not talking of the economy, but moral decadence mainly. People walking half naked, men marrying men, women marrying women, and being officially celebrated. And there is, in Tazrisa, he also said, expect the last hour when there is no more trust. Where is trust today? Those who are in places of responsibility, who are the leaders of who are leaders here and there, they are disappointing the people. And that is a realization, an actualization of the prognostications, the predictions of the Holy Prophet Muhammad, that these things will happen towards the end of time.
Based on what you've just said now, it's almost scary because, I mean, it's like these things are already happening.
Yes.
So how close are we to the precipice? To
the end of time, as the case may be.
Especially when you look at, just like you said, when you look at the way the political class, carries on. You pointed out frugality.
Frugality, yes.
Frugality is a virtue.
Yes.
Of, even if you had so much, you didn't want to display.
Exactly. Don't be flamboyant.
Yes,
humility,
and all of that.
all of this.
Do you see that in the followers
it's
of
part of it.
Prophet Muhammad?
Yes, sallallahu alaihi wasallam. You see, today we have politicians who are rapaciously greedy, avariciously voracious. They have so much. They've taken all they've allocated to themselves all the milk and honey in the land, and yet they are not satisfied. They display their wealth openly to us. They invite pressmen and show them their cars, tens and 20s of cars in one single compound owned by one single person, and we are still voting for them. So this is, the times call for a situation whereby Nigerians look at who their true friends are. Who among the politicians is very simple. Who among the politicians is thinking of the poor, their children. Today we have something in the schools which they call school feeding project. It never happened before. That is the kind of thing our politicians should be thinking of. And Nigerians should get wise and realize that it is people who think of feeding their own children in the school, children born by them. A leader who is feeding such children. About 9 million children are being fed in about 22 states, free every day. There is what they call trader money. Our women have been so poor. Of course, Nigerians live on less than $1 per day. The per capita income is still less than $300. So poverty is ravaging the country. But here are some leaders who have gathered themselves and said, look, we will rescue Nigerians. Trader money is there. I was going to Ibadan on Sunday, day before yesterday. I left home 5:30 a.m. from Lasso area.
Yes.
And I was close to Ibadan when traffic gridlock occurred. By 7:20 a.m., I couldn't continue to Ibadan. I had to turn back to Lagos. And it was less than 30 kilometers to reach Ibadan. It was so frustrating. Now, some people were there for 16 years, and they watched how that road deteriorated to that level. In fact, there are people, if we say...
From what you are saying now, if I'm reading you correctly, for a follower of Prophet Muhammad, whether you're a politician or you're an ordinary citizen, the religion of Islam should guide the way you carry on, the way you carry yourself, and the things that you actually demand, especially for the followers, what you demand from your politicians.
Yes.
Is that what you're saying?
Yes.
So the concept of separating religion from the state does not necessarily apply to
No, in fact, we cannot separate religion from politics with microscopic accuracy. What I mean is, we should understand that there must be connection between politics and religion. If there is no connection, you see, because we see religion as a guide and a teaching and a discipline. Now we see politics. Some people say politics is dirty, and we have seen how very bitterly we play politics in this country. So people are scared of politics. And so we think if religion is a discipline, if religion is about morality, religion can guide politics. Religious people can guide politicians. And so that is why if religious people are told to go to keep politics at bay, then we are endangering our country. We are endangering coming generations.
Okay. So in that case, we have to, one way, allow religion to guide morality, standards, and commitment to governance. Now, Islam has 5 pillars, which the same leaders we talked about, the same people who are falling short of the standards, some of them abide by these 5 pillars, like going on holy pilgrimage, giving alms, and fasting periodically, and all of that. They adhere to these things strictly. And yet, the outcome of what we see every day, either in governance or even in relationship to other people, still does not commit or reflect to the standards of what the Holy Book is. What does the Holy Book say at times like that, when people are adhering to the 5 pillars of Islam and still we're not seeing...
it does not rub off
on... It doesn't rub off on...
it's on daily living.
You see, the Quran in several places keeps referring to believers as alladhina amanu wa amilu solihat, as people who believe and do good deeds, righteous deeds. That is, it's not enough to adhere strictly to the 5 pillars. You need to add to that good deeds. You need to treat your neighbor kindly. You need to love. You need to be kind. You need to forgive. You need to tolerate. You need, and so on. All those things about virtue. Good, a Muslim needs them. But the problem with us in this country is it's not something peculiar to Muslims alone. It's all of us, all religions. We are acrobatically religious. we are extremists in this country.
That's a very interesting way
acrobatically.
Of putting it. I mean, really interesting. But let me put this in, because, I mean, you talk about the almost 2 billion Muslims all over the world. How troubling is it for you that there is a growing trend of terrorism in the world, not only in Nigeria? It has become a clear and present danger for the whole world. And then you have this attachment of the Islamic religion, you know, Islamic fundamentalists, Islamic terrorists and all of that, you know, Islamic extremists, you know, attached to this negative, How troubling is it for you? Do they represent the mind of the generality of Muslims?
It doesn't move me a little bit.
Okay, why? Why is that?
Because I know we're in a hypocritical world. Those who bandy this idea of Islamic extremism, fanaticism, fundamentalism, they are themselves fundamentalists, extremists, because they are the ones who do not tolerate Muslims. They are the ones who are seeking ways to destroy Muslims. You see, Muslims have always been known to be peaceful, and the religion of Islam is a religion of peace. But when people continue to push you to the wall, definitely at a time you will reach the wall and you have to push back. That's no more way to go.
But is that what is happening? Is that what is happening now with terrorism? That put people have been pushed to the wall and are fighting back?
Who started terrorism in the world? Who started terrorism? George Washington, first American president, before the unification of the states, was battling the British colonialists in America. Britain was a colonial master of America before 1776.
Yes.
And of course, before the War of Independence. And of course, British soldiers were being attacked, were being ambushed, were being terrorized, in short, by George Washington and his men. They were, because the British were exploiting.
But there was no religious connotation to what you call terrorism at the time.
Terrorism is terrorism.
Okay.
Terrorism is terrorism. In fact, the hypocrisy in the world today is such that when somebody tries to bomb and it's not a Muslim, they call it crime, ordinary crime. But when another tries to shoot one or two people and it happens to be a Muslim, even though not a practicing Muslim, they say he's a Muslim terrorist. And that is how the West and their cronies, of course, and particularly the press, Western press, and the Christo-Western press of Nigeria and Africa in general, they have colluded to give Muslims and their religion this name. It is a battle of wits. It's a clash of cultures, and it doesn't represent exactly what the Muslims are doing, because we've seen millions of Muslims are very kind and very gentle. Very peace-loving, very peace-loving. But when they are persecuted, we have mosques in the U.S., mosques in Britain, where people go there and they throw, non-Muslims go to the walls and they throw faces to disfigure and to annoy the Muslims and to provoke the Muslims. Give you another example. What harm does my turban do to you as you are sitting there? What harm does my turban do to watchers who are watching us from home? But they say the Muslim, the girl child should not be free. She should not be free to use hijab. America has learned better. America knows better today. Britain also is being liberal. They are allowing the Muslim girl to use hijab. Muslim female children are using hijab in
but
America.
for countries like France, for example, who are saying no to hijab. Don't you think it is a reflection of the sign of the times we live in?
France has always been antagonistic to Islam from time immemorial. When you trace the history of French colonies, particularly in North Africa, you will see that the French are the most intolerable, colonialists that we ever heard, and it is still in the anatomy of France.
But if you go to Paris, you see Muslims everywhere.
That is because
moving around without let or hindrance.
That is because they are there. But you just told us now that France is not allowing hijab. France was one of the first countries that banned hijab.
All right, but one would say the reason why the controversy about hijab or not hijab had to do with the security situation that emanated. Otherwise, before now, we never used to hear the debate about hijab.
Security situation, my foot, sir, with due respect. Before security deteriorated in Nigeria, before we had security problems in Nigeria, we've always had this problem of not allowing hijab. We've always had this problem of persecuting Muslims. We've always had this problem of not allowing Muslims to go for for prayer on Friday. Okay. The message is, people should let the Muslims go. Set them free. Don't think of persecuting your Muslim staff, or if a Muslim owns an office, a private boss, he should allow his Christian staff to be free. Of course, his Christian stuff is free, but there are ways you can persecute people and make them realize that their religion is not acceptable to you.
All right, because of time, let me bring this home quickly before we go. The point is, we have Islam is a religion of peace.
Yeah.
Anywhere in the world is standard and is known, is adopted. Right. But the point is, the Boko Haram terrorists, for instance, whom also preach Islam, whom also want to propagate Islam, at the course of their carrying out their activity, also kill other Muslims. How do we reconcile that mix there? Which Islam is one, and then somebody wants to preach the religion, and then you're still killing your faithful.
Let me start by pointing out a point of correction there.
Okay, okay.
We don't refer to Boko Haram propagandists as Muslims.
Okay.
We don't.
All right.
And we have repeated it severally, that these people are not Muslims. Right. We don't refer to the Al-Qaeda as Muslims. Neither do we refer to ISIS as Muslims. These are people who preach hate. And Islam does not preach hate. The Prophet ﷺ said, Alaykum bil-raha, wa iyyakum bil-unf. Beware of violence. You must always be peaceful. The Prophet said, La yu'minu ahadukum atta yuhibba li akhihi ma yuhibbu li nafsihi. You will never be a good Muslim until you love for your brother what you love for yourself. That is, and it's
regardless of your neighbor's religion.
Yes, regardless of their religion. He spoke about love for the neighbor and so on. So, Al-Qaeda, ISIS, Boko Haram were all created by the West, and they know the facts. Senior officials of Western countries have confessed it in writing. So why are we still dribbling about? These people are not Muslims. It's part of the Israeliyat, one of, what we call infiltrations. These were just pushed onto the throat of some unguided, misguided elements.
But how dangerous is fundamentalism, whether to any of the religions? I mean, not just Islam now. Take, for example, in the case of Kaduna State, where the governor, El-Rufai, has picked a running mate who is Muslim. And you hear from a fellow Muslim that, look, Sheikh Gumi actually raised an issue with that, saying that this is not the way to go. How dangerous is it? Or how low do you think we have gone as a society, as a people, where we have made religion such a huge factor when it comes to issues of governance?
You see, the case of Governor El-Rufai picking a deputy is debatable. Who is a Muslim? The information we have is that the woman is not a Muslim. One, and it doesn't come into the issue of fundamentalism at all. What did the press say, Nigerian press say, when Taraba picked Christian governor, Christian deputy? What did the press say when Fayose, himself a Christian, picked a Christian deputy? What did the press say when Fayemi, a Christian, who is a governor? Excuse me, let me go on, let me finish.
No, hold on. That's why I asked the question.
You can't isolate.
That's why I asked the question.
In fact, governors picking deputies who belong to the same faith you don't have to connect it. We don't have to connect this issue with fundamentalism. Because
I need you to hold on so that you understand the premise of my question. There was a time in this country where we voted a Muslim ticket. It was not an issue for anybody. I mean, I'm talking about Abiola and Babagana Kingibe.
Right.
It was not an issue.
Time is
gone. Do you think we have?
Okay, I understand now.
Yes.
I get your point.
Do you think we have deteriorated? To the point where we have allowed religion to
that is why
take a wrong position.
That's why I spoke earlier about gymnastic religiosity.
Okay.
The way Nigerians look at religion.
Or acrobatic, as you will put it.
Either acrobatic or gymnastic, it is still the same. We take religion as if we take it to where it shouldn't go.
Okay.
We take it to levels that are very ludicrous, laughable. And that is why Nigerians should check. Everywhere we are making noise. Everywhere, we are disturbing ourselves. It is fundamentalism, and I agree with you.
All right,
Thank you
Professor Ishaq Akintola, thank you so much for coming on the
My
program
pleasure.
today.
My
thank
pleasure.
you.
And
we
happy
wish
Eid
you-
El Maulud once again.
Thank you
Exactly.
very
We
much.
wish you happy Eid El Maulud.